Welcome back to the channel. It's Rebirth for Raw Mesh, bro. Hit that like, subscribe button. Just wanted to share something with you real quick, man. And I think battling through lust, battling through high expectations, but not really giving it your all. And I just want to touch on that just a little bit because we have these expectations to have a better car, to have a better place, to have a better job, to have whatever, to impact millions of people, thousands of people, have millions of dollars, or whatever the case may be, right? But once you hit that resistance, that little quit, you back off, you know? And for me today, so I drive across town, downtown Austin, basically, almost downtown Austin. I go for a client, have a composition workout, and get ready to do it, get all the information. But he's like, yo, look, bro, I ain't gonna lie, I really don't want to work out, I just wanted my in-body scan, and it was just like, all right, well, I'm not, for me, I didn't fight it or anything, because he was so adamant on just getting the in-body scan so he could do the work himself, which, I understand, but that right there was just a little bit of resistance that, could make me or break me. And I feel like for me right now, everybody's not gonna wanna do the things that you need them to do or wanna do. Some people aren't gonna want your service. And just because one person don't want your service don't mean another person won't. And through this journey of setting these high expectations and then getting a little bit of result, it's just like, it's not a microwave, bro. Like, I don't even use a microwave. Genuinely, I don't use a microwave. Because things aren't supposed to be quick, man. I feel like things lose its value when it's quick, like, it's about the long journey. It's about the grind. It's about the perseverance. And honestly, it's like, I can let things like that get me down, or, whatever the case may be, not being where I want to be, or not looking the way I want to look, feeling the way, like, I think everybody that's been successful, or not even just successful, desirable in a certain area that I look up to, had to go through moments of doubt, moments of resistance, moments of not feeling like they're worthy or good enough, but they still fought and they still continue to, bark on that journey. And I think that's the most biggest thing, bro, is going through that and knowing that the more resistance, the more muscle can be built, the more prize is on the other side. And dealing with lust, like lustful things, lustful feelings is real key. Like, that's one thing that holds us men back, is lust. And I feel like once you acknowledge that this is a problem, like, you're aware, and then you acknowledge, and then it's the action, the 3 A's, you feel me? Like, so it's like, what's next? Like, detoxing myself from things that truly don't serve God, but also me, like, genuinely me. Like, I don't get any better from doing this, for talking to this person, being in this situation, thinking these thoughts, like, really detoxing myself is the key, bro. Like, honestly, just every day, just finding different ways to release the old ways, to release the old thoughts, and filter and vet out the old me to become who I ultimately said I need to be, and who God created me to be. And of course there's going to be resistance. Of course, you may even fall off and do some things that you probably aren't proud of. But I think the biggest thing is not just asking for forgiveness, but also doing your best to receive forgiveness and that's not falling back into the trap. But it's like, even if you do fall into the trap, keep trying, keep fighting, because eventually you're not going to be doing that. So it's like the fight is so important. A lot of people, like the last video, I can just confine and just be regular and work a regular job and don't have these ambitions, these visions, and just coast through life. And it's like, nah, like that's not even what I'm on, right? I was never like that. Like, I always been different, bro. Like, and I always make things a lot more difficult than what they have to be. I always make things more difficult than they have to be, but at the same time, I understand that the resistance that I go through, the resistance training that I put myself through mentally, physically, and spiritually, is key to be any type of leader. Leading my household is very key, but also leading other young men and women is something that I envision me doing. And a leader has to go through all the mud. He has to take all the flack. And if you're willing to go through that, you got to understand that it's going to be so much BS that you have to deal with. It's not just being the leader, like, oh, I hit 100 million on the company, 1 billion, got all these employees, these big buildings. And you got to be when you like, man, I don't know if I'm not even getting paid for the next 5 years for this business or whatever the case may be, like, that's what the leadership mentality is taking everything on head on, like, good, bad, whatever. Like, I'm there, I'm on the forefront, I'm on the front line with it. And yeah, bro, that's my biggest mentality. My biggest thing right now is shifting my mentality to true leadership. And I've been really listening to a lot of like former like military people, leaders in business, like really trying to embark on that leadership mentality and understand that, it's not just when people see me, it's what I do when nobody's looking. The integrity is really important right now. And yeah, bro, that's where we at with it. But yeah, man, I think shifting our mentality and understanding that we have to go through these difficult times, we have to go through this journey to really appreciate it, man, because it's not so much the destination. Like coming from Connecticut to Texas, like, yeah, I'm in Texas. I've been in Texas for coming on close to a year now. Like, that's cool. But it was the journey leading up to it, being homeless and, living with my lady and her people, and then, not having a car, not having my license because all that shit got taken away or I gave it away, and then getting it back. And now it's like, it was the journey. It was the journey of failing. It was the journey of not having that made it so special. It made it so meaningful. And embracing the journey, man. Embracing the journey every day. You're not gonna just wake up always happy, but understanding that you got another chance, you got another opportunity to get closer and closer and closer to who you desire or envision yourself being. That's the gift. That's the blessing.